media has always been prone to teaching a lesson, whether it's learning that maybe we aren't as unique as we thought we were, how vitriolic and toxic loneliness can be, how the dramatization of celebrities can ultimately push to dehumanizing them. Great media has never strayed away from pressing against the difficult subjects that are almost impossible to talk about. This isn't anything like that. Squirrel Stapler is one of many games featured in the Dread X2 collection, created by David Szymanski, who hasn't strayed away from difficult topics in his previous creations. Games of his like Iron Lung tell a very deep story regardless of how short it is, layering an overbearing, almost oppressive atmosphere that's impossible to climb out of. A view of a dead universe where the last few people alive get to watch as the light from stars that are already gone fade forever. Squirrel Stapler is none of those. It isn't oppressively dark, it doesn't hide a deeper meaning, it's just kind of a weird game with a weird experience. Replicating the early 2000s PlayStation 1 style like many others in his catalog, it borders on nostalgic just as much as it does violently nauseating. The outdoors are so sickly green and bombastic, it's a difficult read on what kind of experience you'll have considering there is an occult symbol drawn on your living room floor, and your wife is sitting skinless, propped on a cross in your bedroom. The plot of Squirrel Stapler is very simple. If anything, it doesn't hide much of its plot. Your wife is dead, and her skin is gone, but you'd like her to be beautiful, just like the squirrels of the forest. So the simple gameplay is to keep quiet while hunting squirrels in a forest. Once you get 5 of them, you bring them back to your dead wife and staple them to her corpse. There is absolutely nothing being hidden by the game's title. There are random messages, some made to specifically build dread and set the atmosphere, but there are 2 locations you can check for short side plots, both of which ending in a lackluster bordering on boring finale. One of them which catalogs the notes of a repair person sent to maintain the towers. The other tells a story of a struggling artist. The struggling artist story tells of a man who creates a beautiful portrait of a woman, particularly focusing on that the image was from the torso and above. After loathing his lack of success, he meets a witch who brings the woman from the portrait to life. But just like it's foretold, the portrait is only from the torso up. The poor woman is killed and then cooked into a stew. That stew is poisoned, and both the witch and the artist die, with the last piece of text in the story being that art will eventually kill the artist. Again, nothing is being hidden. The logs of the repairman would be interesting, but its climax is just as disappointing as the artist's story. Simply, the world in which this takes place in isn't normal. If it wasn't for the occult symbols, the bear squirrels will certainly cement that for you. Bear squirrels will quite literally hunt you down and blow up in your face, with the vengeful squirrel ghosts doing the same but in a more incorporeal form. All of this continues to perpetuate the extremely unnatural setting, which doesn't come as a surprise for a game whose main plot point is stapling dead squirrels to your dead, skinless wife. There are other supernatural elements. At certain times your wife will move around, maybe she'll be in a spot that's unexpected, or even at the dinner table. Either way, you still staple squirrels to her, even if she asks for her own skin back. All of this culminates in the game's greatest scare. In 5 days, God comes. It could be written off as meeting your maker for the crimes you've committed, your wife, the dozens of innocent squirrels. It's time to pay your debt to Squirrel God. The game doesn't allow you to hide away in your cabin. You could run across the whole map while the 2-minute timer slowly ticks down, but there's no escaping the inevitable. It could be a metaphor, one of justice, maybe one of pure insanity. the hunter might die. He might receive payback for his cruel actions, or his insanity might have dug too deep and he's gone off the deep end. Either way you try to spin it, none of these have real concrete proof, or really any concrete meaning. The Squirrel Stapler teaches an important, undervalued lesson. Life isn't a book essay. Years of literature classes, YouTube videos, and anxiety have trained people's minds to always find a deeper meaning. Something so concrete the author must have intended that interpretation. Sometimes you can find them on your own, and other times you'll follow the common consensus. A lesson that's more important to learn is that not everything has, or more importantly, not everything needs a deeper meaning. Sometimes we just need to take a step back, breathe, relax, and take things at face value. The deep analysis of media can bring self-reflection. It can help find lessons that we apply to our life, that we cherish as treasured advice. The need to find a deeper meaning not only in media, but in events we see in our lives. There can come a peace when you find a lesson that can apply to your life, but there's a tranquility in letting it be, not needing to grow from appreciation of art. There doesn't have to be a deeper undertone. There doesn't have to be a life lesson. Maybe it's just about stapling squirrels. Okay, what do we think?
There's no way you actually find this enjoyable, right?
Was this like sponsored by Buc-ee's or something?